Hi. So today, a Monday, is my day off, and I had to get up early and go for a dentist appointment, to which I was informed, or actually not informed, I already knew I need to get two crowns, which are $1,650 each. In American money, I guess that's about, how does it work? Half that, or so I'd say, about 800-ish US dollars for a crown. Is that what you would pay? Or I guess a similar amount of British pound. Oh, sorry, what did I just say? 800 US dollars, and I think a similar British might be a little bit more, like 900 pounds or something. Anyway, it's a lot of money. I'm sure that's a lot of money for anyone. And but I already knew I had to get them. He told me like last year, but it's not like an emergency. But I've got to get them. So that always sucks knowing you've got to spend that much money. But anyway, after that, I had a little bit of free time, and so I went and looked at one shop. Actually, no, sorry, two shops. I was at two shops, but it was a very nice day, very nice weather. It's really starting to kind of feel like early summer here now. First shop I went to, I found two. No, was that one? Yes. No. Yes. These three were from the first shop. And the shop I've been to, it's becoming, or has become over the last 2 years, probably the best performing shop and the most reliable shop to find something there. And the CDs are split into two sections. I've talked about this before, and I'm not exactly sure how they decide what goes into what section, because there's one section that's $2 and another section that's 50 cents in the same shop, and it doesn't seem to have any rhyme or reason. I found equally good stuff, not today, but in the past I found equally good stuff in the 50-cent section as I have in the $2 section. And so yeah, I'm not sure, because all the people who work there, invariably in these charity stores, the people who work there are usually retirees, um, people who have retired. Often they're older women in their kind of 60s, 70s, and they're kind of, I guess they retired. They want to give back to the community, so they volunteer in these shops, and they're often the ones also pricing these things. And you know, I don't think they're always kind of exactly what's the word, aware of what these things are in terms of music. I know that's not always the case. There are some shops where they get younger people, or just they employ people to go on the internet and kind of check the prices on. We don't have eBay here. We have something called Trade Me, but on online trading sites, or auction sites. Anyway, first thing I picked up is something I have owned as a CDR copy, a pirated copy for, I don't know, many years. And that's Crowded House's Woodface, a really quite brilliant album. I forgot how many good songs are on this. Just kind of looking at the track listing here, I think the one, two, three, four, five of the first seven songs were singles. This was also the album where Tim Finn returned to the band, Neil's brother. Obviously, they were together in Split Ends, and so you get more of the kind of Tim Finn, Neil Finn harmonies, and I'm not exactly sure. Or here, actually, it says here. I was going to say I'm not sure who wrote. So the ones written by Neil and Tim Finn, and then the ones with the crosses are just by Neil, such as "Fall at Your Feet," "Whispers and Moans," "Fame is," and then the one with the diamond is written by Paul Hester. Rest in peace. Um, but this copy looks like it's, this was $2, you can see there. The copy has got a broken hinge, but I can replace it easy enough. You can see that the case is quite it looks old, and we'd also see someone's written their name here, Whitley. Who is Whitley? Whitley is the former owner of this, I assume. So yeah, I've never really read most bands that I like. I read a lot about, read biographies or just books about them, or read other stuff I find online, or watch documentaries. Or but Crowded House is a band that I have never really done that with, because I think because they're a New Zealand band, and they're kind of like have always been a household name, and I just kind of just always around in the culture. I've never really been that interested in finding out more in depth, but I was thinking I'd be kind of interested to find out about why Neil invited Tim back into the band, not back into to join the band, and kind of their relationship, how they, their writing relationship, because they've also done. I've got one of their albums here. Where is it? I'm looking. Finn Brothers album. Oh, right here. Trying to reach it. Everyone is here. Is this the one? There's another one they released in the mid-90s. I can't remember the name of that, which was very good as well. So they go from kind of periods of working together and working separately, and obviously, yeah, I'd be interested in their relationship within the band, because being in the band with people, obviously, there's lots of bands with brothers that are famous for Rancor and Disagreement, Oasis, the Kinks. Who else has been brothers in bands? I'm sure there's other brothers. There's lots of other brothers in bands. The Proclaimers. Are they brothers? The Proclaimers. Um. Oh, what's the name? Every Time I Die. That didn't end well, did it? Jordan and Keith Buckley. The whole thing exploded. Anyway, very, very good album. Got this now to replace the pirated CDR version with a copied cover that I've had for about 20 years. $2, not a bad price, I think, for such a great album. The next thing I got from the same shop, from the 50-cent section, these are kind of much more just on a whim I bought them. This one here is Wagner. Now, I don't buy a lot. Oh, Wagner and Strauss. I don't buy a lot of classical music at all. I'm not a big classical music listener. And that's not because I dislike classical music or anything like that. It's just, excuse me, classical music is such a huge thing. You don't even know where really to begin or to end. And so most of the classical music that I do like and do listen to um, is because I've heard it used in something like a movie. Movies are a big one. Um, or just you're kind of familiar with it because there's like a handful, more than a handful, kind of classical music pieces that everyone's heard because they're used so much in background music and ads and whatever else. Anyway, Wagner, I guess what the Ride of the Valkyries is what everyone knows by him. The particular reason I bought this is because of this piece here is what is on it. The Wagner one is Vorspiel, I think is how it's pronounced, which means preludes, and track 2, Das Rheingold, which was used in the end. No, I should probably check this because I'm in my memory it was it was the movie The New World by Terrence Malick, or Terrence Malick directed it, and I think he wrote it. No, did he write it? Terrence Malick is an American director, and he's considered to be one of the greatest film directors of our age. Maybe a little bit lesser known than people like Scorsese or Spielberg, but he's at the more kind of how would you call it? Kind of the filmmaker's filmmaker, or I don't know. I've seen a few things by him. The two things I've seen that made a big impact on me were Tree of Life, which is probably one of my favorite films I've ever seen. And when I saw that movie, it had like a real huge impact on me. Impact on me that not many other movies have made. And I can't really talk about that because it would be too. I'd need more than. I'd need an hour to kind of explain and probably I wouldn't be able to explain it. The other one, like I just said, is The New World, which is much more familiar work because it deals with uh, the historical figure of Pocahontas. You know, they made the Disney movie of her. Um, he made a movie about the Jamestown colony in Virginia and their interaction with the Native American tribes around them, and how one of the colonists had a relationship with, I think she was like the princess of the tribe, maybe. I don't, is that really the right term to use? I'm not sure, but she, with Pocahontas, and she ended up marrying another guy and then going back to England with him. And then finally, not to give the story away, but she died quite young, just as they were leaving England. And at the end of that movie, the very last scene, again, Terrence Malick is just the way he shoots things, especially in the way he uses nature in this movie, in The New World, is like, it gives me goosebumps talking about it. The last 5 minutes of that movie, that Das Rheingold is used while it kind of, I guess, shows her last days of being alive in England, and then there's a voiceover of her husband explaining that she died. So I think he's telling their son by letter or something, and it shows her lying in the bed and then dying, or not, didn't show her dying, but it kind of shows that in a cinematic way, and kind of like her spirit leaving and going back to America, and showing the movement of water and the trees moving in the wind, and the way that he films it with the light and all that. And the use of that music, Das Rheingold, together with that is just, I've watched, sometimes I'll go YouTube just to watch that clip, because it's so beautiful. And I know Wagner has kind of, when you say that name, you kind of, a lot of people kind of immediately jump to the whole Nazi connection, because I think he had some anti-Semitic views himself. Maybe, I'm not actually 100% sure if that's true or not. Am I thinking of Nietzsche? Maybe they both did, but he was also, I think, Hitler's favorite composer or something. But anyway, that's why I picked this up, and for 50 cents, not bad. But you can see here, this was first sold. Now, this is quite a cool piece of, I don't know what you'd call this, retail archaeology. The 11th of December, 1990. I assume that's what it means. That's all it could mean, surely. 11, 12, 90. That's how we write dates. And the price was $11.95 back then, which seems about right for a classical kind of compilation, because this is Wagner and Strauss together. It's not like a full, what do you want to call it, symphony or opera or anything. Classical music is usually a little bit cheaper. And I picked this up, what's that, 33 years later, almost 30, coming up 33 years later, for 50 cents. The other thing I got, this was really just on a whim. Probably shouldn't have bought this because I can't imagine I'm really going to like it, but I was kind of more interested. Balkan Beats, as in the Balkans, former Yugoslavia, Albania, that kind of area. Volume 2, so I assume there was a Volume 1, and this is put out by East Block Records, East Block Music. And this is kind of a compilation of Balkan music. I was of two minds whether to get this, because what I don't really like is overly, and this is probably what it is because of that Balkan Beats. The Beats probably gives it away. Overly dance-oriented Balkan music. I think they call it turbo folk. And that part of the world, kind of Southeast Europe, and even into, I guess, what we call the Near East, kind of Turkey. There's a lot of cultural exchange and war and conquest and subjugation in those areas between the different cultures, and so there's quite a kind of a almost like a Middle Eastern flavor to Balkan music. I know that some people might get offended. Some, like Serbians, might get offended by me saying that, but I find that with the turbo folk, really dance-oriented Balkan music, it's very one note and one flavor and very cheesy, and I don't really like it much. Whereas more traditional Balkan music, I do like. And so I hope it is more of the traditional type. However, going by the kind of the cover, where this looks like a girl in a nightclub, and like it Balkan Beats, and this guy here looks like a DJ, I'm not holding out a whole lot of hope. But who knows? 50 cents. It's worth a try, eh? The second shop I went to, this was $2. She actually tried to sell it for me for $1, but I pointed out, I say, oh no, it's $2, because I always feel a bit guilty if they're they're not exactly sure. But like I said, a lot of the workers, they're not familiar with all the things that are going on, and they'll just go, oh, okay, just give me $1 for it. But it's a charity shop. You don't want to be, if you know it should be more, you don't want to be lying about it to gain $1. Whereas they could use that $1 a lot better than I could, I'm sure. This, as it says here, is 50 summer classics, and this is stuff from the 50s, late 50s, early 60s. You've got Bobby Darin, Dean Martin, Perry Como, Vic Damone, Ella Fitzgerald, Burt Bacharach, Doris Day, Nina Simone, Sinatra, Mancini, Andy Williams, Mel Torme. So some of this stuff I like. Some of it I don't like. Some of this 50s stuff, I think I've said in a video before that. Stuff like Dean Martin, too much of that stuff. Especially that Vegas style stuff. Don't like it. I've never really liked it. But some of that late 50s, early 60s stuff, I can't really explain what kind, that uses a lot of strings and stuff. I think Burt Bacharach did it very well. I do like. I've actually been listening to a lot of that on Spotify recently, but more of artists I have never known before. I would kind of put on a playlist and just listen to it. It's very kind of relaxing stuff. I like to play it while I drive sometimes. So I thought, because I've been listening to that stuff recently, I thought, well, I'll give this a try. Looking at the song names, I know some of the song names, but I don't know all of them. So, for example, what do we got here? Don't Go Breaking My Heart. Mambo Italiano. The Lady is a Tramp. Summertime. I assume that's that Gershwin song. There's a Marilyn Monroe song. Didn't know she sung actual songs outside of movies. Leaving on a Jet Plane. Is that the... Does that mean that John Denver was doing a cover? Strangers in the Night. Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head. Anyway, worth a listen. $2. It's not the cheapest one you'll find, but it's not that bad, is it? It was $30 originally, so always got to remember getting a $27 discount somewhere along the line. The last one. Fall Out Boy. From Under the Cork Tree. Now, I saw this in the shop a month or two ago. Picked it up. I was going to buy it. It's empty. Now, I knew at home that I had the disc without the cover, because for a long time ago, I had thrown the cover away. and just kept the disc. And at the time, 2 months ago, I thought, no, I'm not going to buy just the cover for $1. That seems ridiculous. But then over the weeks, I thought, why didn't I? What's the, you know? And so today I did. And ta-da! Here is the copy I've had sitting in the folder for years, which I bought. When did I buy? I bought the over 12 years ago. Would have been 12, 13, 14 years ago. I bought this, and this was secondhand as well. So this is actually now second and a half hand. And there's the original. And I actually think, oh no, they're about the same. I was going to say this. The one I've got is a little bit better, maybe a little bit cleaner and a little bit less creased. Look at that. You see the tone is slightly different on the curtains. Is that because of sun fading, or I don't know. But yeah, I often talk about, I was talking about yesterday when I did that Weezer video, saying that I kept the case for that album, Make Believe, because one day maybe I'll get the disc. And that has happened before. I think I made a video about Pink Floyd. I had, which one did I have? I had the disc with a cover. I had one or the, I can't remember. I had one or the other, and then I got the other, and I put them together. Well, this is doing it again here. Now I have a completed version of Fall Out Boy's Under the Cork Tree, which is an okay album. It's not as good as Infinity on High, but it's not a bad album at all. It's got some really long song titles. Our lawyer made me change the name of this song so we wouldn't get sued. I've got a dark alley and a bad idea that says you should shut your mouth. Champagne for my real friends, real pain for my sham friends. Anyway, so yeah, picked that up for $1, a case, reunited with a disc. Not bad, eh? So yeah, that's actually the first time in ages, really, that I bought a few things in one day, because I've just found that the last 6 months I've really finding very, very little in the shops. But yeah. Anyway, not bad, eh? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 new discs. Okay, thank you for watching.